on my lips, potato chips. Oh, weird shit your friends send you at 2 a.m. when you're blazed. Yeah, so.
So, why don't we get that whiskey poured unless you already beat me to it.
Well, no, not yet, but I was going to say, let's take the phones off quick, get our pre-show selfie, and we'll be good to go.
Take your whiskey home. All right, on the rocks.
You know what? I hate to say this, I need new ice cubes.
A little bit of water in there is fine. A little whiskey and water.
Actually, you know what? You're right.
No big deal. It can only make this taste better from what I've heard.
All right, well, cheers to you. Actually, that is fucking tasty.
I don't know, it tastes like whiskey to me.
It tastes like... It's a cross between Jim Beam and Jack Daniels for me, and that's not going to be a guzzling whiskey, that's for damn sure. Jesus. Fucking 17 coming over Canal again.
We'll just take it easy.
Just take it easy, okay? Alright, let's get our reposition here.
Yeah, count us in whenever you get situated.
Will do, Chief. Alright. And we're going Glam first then?
Yep.
Shit, notes.
This might be the longest cold open we've ever done.
Not probably, but you know, I like our cold opens. Yeah, this is what I wrote my fucking shit on the back of.
Oh, great.
IT memo. But yeah, Goofy went forward. That wasn't even one of mine. It was a Janiceism. Told her she needs to write a fucking book because she just has too many goddamn stories. So she called it Goofy went forward, which is about right. Hole here just for good measure. Dare I say the fucking clown was right. This is good sipping whiskey. Very rich though.
Coaster. Use the fucking coaster.
The fucking coaster. Sick maniac. What the hell was I thinking? There we go. And you know what? We are doing the Brett Michaels based podcast here, so drop a rocket at the ready. Are you good?
We're good.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Here we are for another episode of One More Last Time. Chadwick von Spandex and Joshua 40 the Hard Way Johnson.
Fucking A, big brother, fucking A. So this installment, we are going to discuss...
Oh, my favorite genre of music.
And my not sarcastically, one of my favorites.
Cock rock.
Glam, hair metal, butt rock, however you want it.
Cock rock.
Cock rock. Oh boy. All right, so I'd say basically any semblance of an outline we have for this episode is pretty much going to revolve primarily around two bands from that era. This being the 80s hair metal, glam metal, whatever you want to call it, scene. And those two bands are Motley Crue and Poison.
I don't mind Motley Crue so much.
All right.
My biggest bitch is Poison.
You and so many others. Oh man, and we're gonna definitely dive into. In my opinion, we're gonna dive into what was wrong with them, what was right about them. Did they get a bum rap? And in hindsight, were we all too hard on them? But we'll start out at the beginning. Let's just dive right into it and start with Motley Crue.
Oh man, you're really throwing me off here.
Well, we got to go chronological, Chadwick.
Okay, but that's fine. That's fine. Let's talk about Motley Crue.
All right, so
here's what I think.
Okay.
So, I kind of want to give them a pass.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were the glam and cock rock.
Sure.
But they were also like dirty.
Yes.
And edgy a little bit. Don't fucking twist my words around on that by when I say they were edgy, but still they were had that Guns N' Roses kind of filth to them.
Yeah, there was a danger to them.
Exactly, a danger.
You know, and their offstage lives just absolutely bore testament to that. You know, between car accidents, deaths, overdoses, whatever sex stories you could conjure about any of them. Yeah, they lived what they sang about. There's no doubt about it. And they set the standard for debauchery, you know, tired as that whole observation is. They absolutely did.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, I didn't even listen to Motley Crue for my homework part of this because I like them, and I have all their major records somewhere.
Sure. And for my part, I didn't listen to them either for quote-unquote homework just because I've been listening to them for years.
I definitely had to dig into Poison because...
Oh, sure. And Chad, I gotta tell you, I salute you for that because as soon as I came up with that idea, I thought, fucking he is gonna hate me so goddamn much for this one.
Well, it's fine because it kind of prepped me for the other stuff we're doing.
For sure. And speaking of stuff we're doing, let's just say right now that this episode is brought to you by Small Batch Number 9 Iowa Whiskey, which is Slipknot's brand of whiskey. And we've both been trying it. What do you think of it?
I don't know. It's all right, I guess. First of all, they did not pay us to say kind words about their bullshit whiskey.
No. Nobody's paying us anything.
Actually, can I see the bottle? I haven't even looked at it.
Yes. No, take a look. It's great.
Let's look at. Take a minute here and.
Right, but my thoughts on the whiskey.
So it's got a big old ear of fucking corn on it because Iowa. Slipknot.
And if you read, made with Iowa corn.
Oh boy, what is it? What whiskey isn't really? I almost spilled that all over that cork.
No, please don't do that.
That fucking would have sucked.
No, believe it or not, Nicole wanted to make sure I saved her some so she could try it. As if I'm going to drink an entire bottle of this shit at 3 in the afternoon.
I was wondering.
What, that I was going to be able to sit on it?
No, that we were not going to fucking drink the whole thing.
Well, I don't know, but I will say that I did have a running bet with my friend Janice. When I bought the bottle a week ago, she bet me $5 there's no way I'm going to sit on this for a week. Well, I did, so Janice, I won, but don't worry about the $5.
I'll take his $5.
Nobody's... My $5, hers. I won the bet.
Yeah, you win, I win. So I don't know. Anyway, it's got like multiple ears of corn on it. What else is on here? I got to look real close. Is that a...
I don't know. I didn't look that close at the front.
Is that a fucking goat or something?
Probably Iowa goat. The album cover, that is.
I can't tell. It looks like a horn.
Dude, my eyesight's...
goat or ram horn or something. Anyway.
My eyesight's so fucking bad, I probably wouldn't be able to spot it anyway.
It's not a very interesting bottle per se. I mean, for being a Slipknot whiskey, this would get overlooked. The only thing that says it to me is their little tribal S on this tag.
Okay. Well, and that's kind of what I like about it because, yes, you know, I'm not going to lie to you. I bought it because it was Slipknot, but I think...
that's a good theme for us here because we like to drink and we like music, so...
Sure.
You know, maybe we'll try different rock and roll alcohols.
Well, I'll tell you what, that one was on me, so the next one's on you. Whatever you bring, I'll drink.
Okay, well.
Hey, Metallica's got lager out.
If anyone wants to fucking send us anything, because we can't get shit here in Iowa.
Yes, please.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, just...
Doug, I'm talking to you.
And I don't know who I'm talking to, but yes.
His name's not Doug, Josh.
Whatever, shut up. Hey, yeah, bottle on the tip. Yeah, that's what I thought there, dude.
Middle, so we can both reach it.
Yes. All right, so back to the matter at hand. Let's start this off the way we generally started the other ones off. Let's start with Motley Crue. What was your introduction to Motley Crue? Because you said you didn't have to do the homework because you were well aware of them. Where did you first hear about them?
Probably MTV in the late 80s.
Okay.
I mean, I'm trying real hard to dig deep on that memory, and somewhere around there.
Okay. Well, I can tell you mine.
Probably Girls or something. Whatever.
Yes, sir.
Whatever was on rotation.
Right, and that would have been it around that time. My introduction, well, just like the Pantera one, there's a two-parter to this one. I first became aware of Motley Crue with we've discussed how my dad played in cover bands. Well, one Saturday afternoon, he brought home a vinyl. Yes, back when you could still buy vinyl. A vinyl copy of Shout at the Devil. And I don't recall that album ever being played in the house, and that's probably because my mother took one look at it and said, "No way, Michael, And you got to take the time period into consideration. This probably would have been like 85 when I saw this. It's black with a pentagram on the front. There's a pentagram on the inner sleeve. On the back, it says, may contain backward messages. And if you read the lyric sheet like I did, you get into songs like Bastard, Shout at the Devil. It just, in our minds, you know, the 80s Satanic Panic, holy shit, these guys are satanic. And it was scary to me. I mean, as a kid, I didn't go near that album for years because I genuinely bought into it. These guys are Satanists. Now, knowing what I know now, it's like, no, they weren't Satanists. They were extremely hard partiers, because I can remember those liner notes even as a kid reading them. This album was made on Budweiser, Bombay Gin, Quakers and Krill, which is Quaaludes and cocaine, and Wild Women.
I like Bombay. Like Bombay Sapphire Gin?
I don't think I've ever had it.
Oh, I have a few bottles. We can break into that sometime.
Yes. Oh, and Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels is also there.
Oh, of course.
So that was when I first became aware of Motley Crue. Now,
see, I don't remember. Obvious. I remember Shout at the Devil,
sure,
but I don't remember like the pentagram, being afraid of it, kind of a thing.
Well, like I said, in my house, the 80s Satanic Panic was a big thing.
It is possible my uncle, I'm pretty sure my uncle definitely followed Motley Crue.
Okay.
My mom's youngest brother was a rock and roller.
All right.
Yeah, and I kind of remember that's where I first found Metallica.
All right.
Because I remember, you know, he and my mom were close in age, so they used to go out and party. So I'd go over to his house, and the babysitter would watch us or whatever.
Right.
And I remember Cliff 'Em All VHS tape, and we would, you know, like Bean played.
Right on, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm fairly certain that he was a Motley Crue fan also.
That's cool. But yeah, my reintroduction to them after being made aware of them, and you couldn't go through the late 80s, early 90s without being aware of Dr. Feelgood and how massive that was, and then the big Karabi controversy that happened when he took over for vocals. But when I became a fan of theirs was driving around one afternoon with a buddy of mine and hearing Too Fast for Love. Now, I was aware of Too Fast for Love, but I paid no attention to it because it was just a plain black and white cover. You know, it was their first album, whatever. But the song that hooked me, and you'll probably laugh, was Come On and Dance. Now, the riff to that is just dirty and sleazy, but what roped me was the fucking bridge where Tommy Lee is just beating the shit out of that cowbell the whole time. And for whatever reason, that just sounded like the sleaziest, most LA fucking down and dirty rock and roll thing, and I was fucking hooked. I immediately went out and bought Too Fast for Love, and that is still my favorite album of theirs, hands down.
Yeah, I think Mick Mars is underrated as a
fucking
guitar player.
Right,
not enough people mention him.
No, and they damn well should.
They should. He was a very solid guitar player.
And a lead player. I mean, I was watching that Brian Posehn, or however you say his name.
Brian Posehn?
Posehn, thank you. I was watching him.
We may or may not be related.
I fucking half wonder, Chad. I really do. But
did you ever remember when that age app was real popular, where you take a picture of yourself and it would age you? I took a picture of myself and I looked like an old Brian Posehn.
I think I remember that. I never did that app just because I was afraid I'd wind up looking like some 80-year-old woman or some shit.
Yeah,
but
well, not to fanboy on everybody, but
well, right.
But on Twitter, I shared my weed cookie recipe with Brian Posehn, and he gave it the old thumbs up. So
hey, that's cool.
A part of me thinks he.
Well,
part of me thinks he made my weed cookies.
Well, and he probably took one look at your picture and went, God, there was that one night in Moline, after, around about 1984. Hey, you never know. Well, yeah, you do know. No disrespect to your old man at all.
Yeah, but...
Sorry, Chad's dad. I was just kidding around, honest.
So my mom partied with, like, Uriah Heep or something in the 80s.
No way.
Yeah.
Fucking right. Easy living. But, yeah, so that was that's when I became a fan of Motley Crue, and that just never stopped. We've discussed at great length when I saw them in concert, on our previous podcast, and having the theater page shirt and nobody getting it or whatever. So it occurs to me that I've told that exact story twice. So maybe it's time to hang it up.
Maybe. You're repeating yourself, Josh.
I fucking old and
we all know your rules about repeating yourself.
Yeah, and I'm breaking them, but No, and in fact, that reminds me, a couple of corrections I need to make for the record here as far as any faux pas or mistakes I may have made. Is one of them is, in one of our podcasts, I was talking about how I was listening to the Sex Pistols with my stepson, Marky. And I had said that the first track that he heard that he went, whoa, was track 1 on the album. And I said it was Bodies. I was dead wrong. The track was Holidays in the Sun. And then the other mistake I made, my brother pointed out when we were discussing Pantera and that song, The Badge. I had said it was an Agnostic Front cover.
Yeah, and I couldn't remember who it was.
It was not. It was Poison Idea.
Yeah, I knew it was an Agnostic Front.
Right.
I knew that, but I just could not, for the life of me, remember the actual band.
Well, I couldn't either. But, yeah, so those 2 corrections are on the record. Thank you, Brandon, for pointing that out. And thank you, Marky, just for rocking, being a rocking stepson. So, back to Motley Crue. Where they, as far as glam went, they really... You can't say who started it so much because it was, to me, glam rock in the 80s was nothing more than 70s hard rock amplified, painted in fucking neon, and hairsprayed to the heavens.
Yeah, but then there's Motley Crue. Because if you compared them to anybody else, they were, yes, they had makeup.
Oh, yeah.
But they looked like some kind of post-apocalyptic fucking freak show.
Oh, the Shout era? Absolutely. And that's what they did on purpose. They,
of course they did.
Escape from New York, I think, was what they were watching. The Road Warrior.
Oh, well, either way.
Yeah, that's where they got
that look. That's definitely a better look than their contemporaries.
Oh, and that's just it. Is everybody, they were the trendsetters. I mean, think about when Motley Crue came out in 1980 when they were established. Nikki has talked about this quite a bit. They were around in LA when the punk thing was happening, and boy, were they hated by the punks because they're glammed up, they're pretty looking.
What is it with the West Coast that seems like they're all fucking uptight?
Because they are the trendsetters, so they think that they own everything.
Also, the East Coast seems a little uptight in a different way.
East Coast is more aggressive. They're the meaner guys. Whereas the West Coast, don't get me wrong, they have their share of mean too, but the East Coast to me seems just a bit more abrasive, a bit more in your face. Like Henry Rollins talking about the band Agnostic Front. And he was saying that basically to sum them up, they were the guys that would stand in front of the bodega, beating on their chest, look at anybody who would walk by going, huh, what's up? Come on, what's up? You want to go? What's up? That's how he summed up Agnostic Front. And I thought, yeah, that's about right. Because if you ever listen to them or watch their shows, Jesus Christ, you're scared just even watching them. It's like somebody's going to kick my ass for no good reason other than being there. Whereas the West Coast seemed a bit more preoccupied with, well, think about it. You spend most of your time on the beach as opposed to in a bodega in Brooklyn.
I don't know. I've never spent any time on a beach, so.
I've spent my time on a beach, and you're just naturally going to be a lot more laid back. Who wants to fight when you're catching sun and watching bikinis walk by?
What do I got here in Iowa? There's snow sometimes, a lot of the time.
Pretty much, but in my opinion, the Midwestern ladies are that much better looking because they're curvaceous.
Well, there's a reason why David Lee Roth is singing about Midwest farmers' daughters.
You fucking right. They really make you feel all right. But anyway, so back to Motley Crue, and they set pretty well every trend that happened in the 80s. When they came out initially, Too Fast was a lot of leather, and then bands started doing that. So Shout came out. They looked like a post-apocalyptic band of warriors. So you had bands like Armored Saint kind of taking cues from there. And then naturally they evolved into full-on Theater of Pain glam, spandex, court jester outfits. And before you knew it, every fucking band was doing that. And that would lead to Poison later, which we'll dive into them in a bit. But then as soon as everyone started doing the glam spandex thing, they said, fuck this, and went to the denim and leather, and Girls, Girls, Girls happened. So,
fun fact.
Sure.
Motley Crue was kicked off the Kiss Creatures of the Night tour.
Yes, they were. Do you know why they were?
The only thing I know is that Gene Simmons cited their bad behavior, and I could only fucking imagine what Gene Simmons would think is bad behavior.
I'll tell you what Gene Simmons thought bad behavior was. Tommy and Nikki gangbanging Eric Carr's girlfriend while they were on stage.
All right.
Yep, I'm pretty sure that's what got them kicked off the tour. Poor Eric
Those
Carr.
fucking guys should talk, aren't they? What's Gene Simmons count? Like
according to him, $5,000. I think.
200,000 and some syphilis.
Well, good one. But no, it is funny because Gene Simmons banged Eric Carr's girlfriend. Or maybe not his girlfriend, but some groupie that he had his eye on one night, and Gene wound up taking her back instead, and Eric Carr heard about it, and he was hurt, and Gene's whole thing was, well, that's just rock and roll, Eric.
I think that maybe Gene Simmons was just a tad bit jealous of Motley Crue, possibly.
He probably was and probably wasn't. I mean, yeah, because that's the weird thing is he kicks them off the tour for banging Eric Carr's girlfriend. Yet a few years later, he's at Nikki Sixx's house trying to write songs with him and getting his Rolls Royce stuck in the driveway. Gene is all about money, and that's his motivation, and he knows how to make it. For Christ's sakes, Kiss sold a package of air guitar strings at one point.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, but if you think about it, it's shameless as all fuck, but he knows damn well there's a Kiss collector out there who's got to have everything, and they're gonna get that.
Yeah, I get it. I get collecting.
Sure. I guess
just,
I don't.
Like, I don't know. I thought Kiss was good for like 2 or 3 records, and then they became the clown show.
Oh yeah, and Paul Stanley has talked about that quite a bit, and it's the same with Ace Frehley.
They're like the fucking Disney characters now. As their obviously they replaced Ace a long time ago.
Ace and Peter.
Yeah, like anybody can just don the makeup now.
Well,
so when all of them are gone, we're still going to be going to see Kiss in concert.
Paul Stanley has said that. I see no reason why Kiss can't continue once me and Gene are gone. It's like, whatever.
Fuck. All right, I might as well go see Kiss cover bands because that's about the same fucking thing.
I saw Kiss on the Psycho Circus tour, and that's all I needed to see.
Let's just go see Mini Kiss.
Yes, now you're talking. Yes, little people dressed up as Kiss because you can't say, well, midgets, I guess. But anyway, back to the Crue. Yeah, so they absolutely set every trend, and they would switch it up. And fun fact about them, have you ever noticed that they have a different logo for every album?
I have not noticed that.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to take a look right now.
Yeah, do it. 'Cause, yeah, every album, and I'm pretty sure it was Nicky because he is the mastermind. I'm pretty sure it was Nicky that did that on purpose. They've never had the same logo for any album. They've all been different.
Oh, I see it now.
Yep.
Like Shout at the Devil was like a block logo.
Yep, and then I love the Theater of Pain logo myself.
Dr. Feelgood was like cursive-y with some skulls on it.
And Motley Crue looked like a bad stamp, the self-titled with Crop.
Yeah, it was like a stamp.
And then Generation Swine was sloppy paint and fucking... Yeah, you can go on and on.
Too Fast for Love was someone's crotch.
A total Sticky Fingers album cover ripoff, but it was fucking brilliant. In fact, I'll tell you what, that crotch shot did influence me in one way. Pair of leather bell bottoms I had made for me. I was insistent that it had the tie front, whatever the fuck you call it.
That crotchular area?
Yes, I was insistent that it not be a zipper or anything like that. I wanted the tie
I'm going to interrupt you here for just a second.
because of that album cover.
I'm looking at this album cover, and I'm trying to figure out who the fuck was their target audience, because I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wait a minute. This is pretty homoerotic.
Well, that's the damn thing, and that's a place we'll definitely go with this episode. Is back then, guys wearing makeup or anything like that, that, of course, the crotch shot of Vince Neil and all that, nobody worried about that looking gay. I mean, think about Rob Halford. By his own admission, dressing like Glenn from the Village People, nobody thought of it as gay. You thought of it as metal. So, yeah, it does kind of, now that you bring that up, it does kind of make you wonder, how did Glam not have more of a gay following? But it didn't. It was geared towards women. And in all reality, I'd say it started off with the New York Dolls. If you're going to go into what really started Glam, it was that band. Look at some old photos of them. I mean, they were drag queens. But man, did they get mad ass. And I don't even want to delve into why that is, but it's just, yeah, that was a Glam thing, guys dressed up like women getting mad ass. But back to Motley Crue, yeah, so they started all the trends. They absolutely did. I don't think they even did it on purpose. It was just they did whatever they did, and everyone followed them so they would get sick of it and change. Motley in a lot of ways was apart from the entirety of it because they were there first and they set every trend. They were also the band in that genre that with the exception of Guns N' Roses, was absolutely, there was the danger with them. And, as you said, the edge or whatever the hell. The music was almost secondary to the behavior. And it still really is historically. You think about that movie that came out, The Dirt.
That was great. I thought that was a great movie. Because I read the book. I remember reading the book when I lived down in Ames.
Fuck, I bought the book the day it came out.
Yeah.
Still have it. Hardcover. But,
So I was pretty excited when the movie came out.
I know
they made some embellishments.
Well, they had to compress certain things, It's only an hour and a half.
But just, like, the opening of that movie.
Yes.
Really sets the tone for who Motley Crue is.
Well, and that was the opening chapter of the book, too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that part of it was brilliant, but that's almost the unfortunate thing. If there's any unfortunate thing about Motley Crue, it's that the music is absolutely secondary. And it makes sense because it's been just well established that Nikki Sixx is not the world's best bass player. But I tell you what, he knew how to.
Well, he had that radio show.
Yeah, Sixth Sense.
Yeah, I don't know. So I watched some of that on YouTube. He'd have like a guest or something sometimes, and they would play video footage of it.
Right.
He would sit there and he would admit to it. He's like, "Oh yeah, that song. That's like a Cheap Trick song backwards."
Yep. And in the Heroin Diaries, he at one point says something to the effect of, "All right, now I got to write some songs and figure out which Aerosmith riff I'm going to rip off." He flat out admits it. And that's fine, but yeah, that's almost the tragedy of Motley's music being second to their image because, okay, so fine, Nikki Sixx, good songwriter. One of my friends called him a hack at one point, and I remember thinking, okay, for him being a hack, we sure all know his songs. Whether it's fucking great or not, the guy knows how to write a pop song or a rock song. He's good at it, and he could do it for any era. Like when their greatest hits album came out, I think 98 or something to that effect. Yeah, like the second greatest hits. There were two new tracks on it. One of them was Bitter Pill, which is a song I love, and then Slave, or I Won't Be a Slave or something. But they sounded like from that era, late 90s, but they still sounded like Motley. And that's going back to the tragedy of the music being secondary. You have two musicians in that band who are fucking brilliant. Mick Mars, who is so underrated it's criminal, and then Tommy Lee. When you say Tommy Lee, you think, oh, the guy with the big dick, who fucked Pam Anderson or whatever the fuck. But no, Tommy, as a drummer, is just fucking solid. And even if he's playing a simple 2/4 beat, it's Tommy. It's Tommy. Just the way he plays. I mean, he played on Rob Zombie's Hellbilly Deluxe album on 2 of those tracks.
I did not know that.
You didn't?
No.
Yeah, it was Meet the Creeper and Resurrection Joe meets Rosa Horror or something. Those 2 tracks Tommy played drums on, and you fucking know right away it's him. You listen to the whole album, and then it gets to Meet the Creeper. It's like that drum beat. It's like that's Tommy all the way. Yeah, and I wish Tommy got more recognition for what a great drummer he is, because you get the drum solos with the spinning cages and all that, but nobody talks about how great a musician he is, how solid he is.
Yeah, because he's fucking nuts off the stage too.
He very much is, but there was Shout at the Devil. I think metalsludge.com, brilliant website. They did an interview with I think Tom Werman, talking about, and I could be dead wrong on this, but I know the idea was brought up that when they were recording Shout at the Devil, Nikki and Vinny, you could barely work with because they weren't really that skilled at what they were doing at the time. But Mick and Tommy were flawless. You didn't even have to produce them. They did their parts. They were perfect, and you were done. So that's why the fact that nobody really talks about their music just sucks, because Mick and Tommy are brilliant.
I have to look at the track listing for Theater of Pain to see if there's anything I really like on there. I mean, other than,
I'll be honest with you, I don't.
The Brownsville Station cover.
Right. I'll be honest with you, Theater of Pain album, Nicky himself has said that it basically, well, everyone in that band has said that album was awful.
Like in the movie, that dude got that tattoo.
Theater of Pain. I fucking love that part. Theater of Pain.
Yeah. Okay. So I see 2 tracks that I like.
Okay.
And the rest are I don't know. They're forgettable.
They are. And Nicky himself has admitted that he compared Motley Crue to McDonald's. It was disposable. But also at the time, that was when you better write an album to tour off the back of, and it was all on him to write the songs, or at least he made it all on him.
So like, what happened? Like they went from Theater of Pain to Girls, Girls, Girls.
What do you mean? What happened?
Didn't that have more songs on it that people knew?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I have a vinyl copy of Girls, Girls, Girls that my friend Sherelle had sent me one year for Christmas, which, Sherelle, if you're listening, still rock that album. Thank you so much. You're awesome. But the album itself, I hate to say this because it sounds so just like anybody else, but the first 2 songs are really all that's worth listening to on that album. It starts to... That's not saying 5 Years Dead isn't a good song or Dancing on Glass isn't a good song, but you don't remember them. That's when Motley was starting to sound kind of stock.
I suppose you're right, now that I see the track listing. I thought other songs were on this.
Right, but no, it's Girls, Girls, Girls and Wild Side, and yeah, if you don't hear the rest of it, it doesn't really matter, unfortunately.
I'm going to agree with you on that one.
But let's I tell you what, since we're doing 2 bands for this episode, let's go to the Motley catalog and just go through that real quick. Too Fast for Love. My thoughts, my absolute favorite Motley album. I still listen to it, but the only gripe I have about it is, in 2000 I bought the Crucial Crue, C-R-U-E, Crucial Crue reissue of it, and it had 4 bonus tracks, and 2 of them were Toast of the Town and Stick to Your Guns. And I wish like hell those songs would have been on the album, because those are probably the best songs on that album, in my opinion. And honestly, if I'm going to pick a favorite, it's Come On and Dance. Just because that riff is so sleazy and fucking... The cowbell. Not to sound like, hey, more cowbell and all that, but no, that cowbell got me, and I still fucking love that song. What are your thoughts on Too Fast for Love?
I don't know. Live Wire.
Yeah, okay. Good
Too
song.
Fast. I think I'm a Motley Crue Greatest Hits fan.
And that's fine. That's nothing wrong with that.
I know I've listened to every one of these songs because I had it on a MP3 player, and
okay.
I could not get rid of. I had like thousands of songs, thousands of songs, and all I would hear was Motorhead and Motley Crue.
I thought it was Motorhead and Slayer.
Oh yeah, that too. So that was a different time.
Okay, I see.
For some reason, it was just stuck on random, and it would randomly pummel me with Motorhead, and then it would be like Motley Crue.
Boy, that's a... Well, it is and it isn't.
I think my MP3 player was broken.
I think your MP3 player was fucking with you, but...
Well, it got washed and still worked, so...
Ah, nice.
I guess that's not a bad glitch to have.
Not as such, no. But, okay, so, yeah, those are the thoughts on Too Fast for Love. Let's go to Shout, then. My favorite track is Bastard. There's no doubt about it. Because I remember... reading the lyrics as a kid and like being almost scared because they're talking about murdering somebody.
Well, let's backtrack just a hair.
Okay, no problem.
What do you think the worst track on Too Fast for Love was?
Okay, the one I dislike.
Which one do you dislike the most?
Ooh, that's a hard one, but God, that's a difficult one. But instinctively, I want to say Starry Eyes.
Yeah, I think I was going to drift towards that one, too.
That's a few people I've talked to have said that. There's a level of cheese to it that, saying Motley Crue and cheesy is a bit redundant. But, no, that one just never sat right with me. But, you go to other songs like, what the fuck? Take Me to the Top is awesome because it has a fucking time signature switch to it. So it's like, da-da-da-da, and then ba-ba-ba. I mean, that's fucking heavy. And I don't think that gets enough credit, but Merry-Go-Round, for whatever reason, cheesy, especially that last, I'm coming home, babe. No, stop that! But even that's kind of a good song. But no, I love the album. I can listen to it front and back. And
all right, so let's go back to Shout at the Devil.
All right, Shout. So my favorite track is Bastard, easily. I still love that song. I would love to cover it someday, but yeah, my favorite track is Bastard. My least favorite... Ooh, Danger just seems to meander. That's kind of my thoughts on that. What about you?
I like Shout at the Devil.
Sure.
Looks at Kill.
Yeah.
I really liked Helter Skelter.
That was brilliant.
And Too Young to Fall in Love. So those had music videos, and I think that's probably why I like those the most, is because at the time,
sure,
that was my exposure, was them on MTV.
Okay, let me flip back. I say if I have a least favorite song, it's probably Too Young to Fall in Love, I hate to say.
It's fine.
But, no, it's just that album.
Is that the music video where they're like walking through Chinatown?
Yes,
and
and
stuff?
Tommy Lee's
Like,
trying to eat rice throughout the whole thing. Then when he finally eats it, he spits it out.
Yeah.
Poor Tommy. All he wanted was some rice. But no, fucking and that album's got so many great moments. God Bless the Children of the Beast, that instrumental.
Oh yeah, Mick Mars, like I said,
Fucking beautiful. And then
criminally underrated.
absolutely, but I think that's when I think Motley, unfortunately, that early in the game for them, I think that's kind of where they started repeating themselves. To where if you listen to, Knock 'Em Dead Kid, 10 Seconds to Love, and Looks That Kill, boy, those riffs just sound so similar. That's what I picked up from it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it bad by any stretch. But yeah, that album there was so much danger to that album, pun intended. Because that's where in the liner notes they talk about being drunk and fucked up on dope and fucking groupies, and the lyrical content. Yeah, Nicky was definitely very into a satanic phase because there's a lot of quick as a shark, the beast has its mark, shout at the devil, in Red Hot, and then
You think that was intentional because wasn't that around the time? Didn't Tipper Gore come after him around then, or was that after the fact?
Tipper Gore was 85, and Bastard was on her Filthy 15 list.
Oh yeah.
But no, reading Nicky's telling of it, Nicky, the thing about him is Motley Crue were so good at playing the low IQ, high RPM rocker guys, but Nicky did nothing but read. And at that time, he was reading a lot of occult material, and he was drawn to it, so he just would naturally write about it. So I don't think it was intentional in hey, we're going to fuck with people. I think it was intentional in this is what I'm reading and this is what I'm going to write about.
His influence at the time.
Sure, but even Too Fast for Love, if you look at the inner, the dust jacket, there's them standing in front of a pentagram. So they were fucking with it even back then.
Didn't that come from his, what was that? Wasn't he in a band with...
Blackie Lawless,
Yeah.
the band was Sister.
Yeah, didn't that come from them?
Yes, in fact, it's been...
Or he took their imagery because they weren't...
Well, yes and no. Sister has been widely regarded as the first band to use a pentagram in their logo. Now, I've never heard Sister. I need to go down the rabbit hole and unearth some of those tracks. But, yeah, they were the first band that had the pentagram. And Nicky and Blackie were in the band. Of course, didn't agree. But Blackie had said something to the effect, and this is Blackie's viewing of it, you know what, you want the pentagram, go ahead and take it, but be careful with what you're fucking with. And there's stories that Lita Ford has told and Tom Zutaut has told of going over to Nicky's house and him and Lita huddled up on the couch scared because weird shit's happening and he sees a fucking fork fly into the ceiling.
Weird shit, huh?
Yes, and actually Shout at the Devil was originally supposed to be called Shout with the Devil. And it was Tom Zutaut after the fork incident. I guess he finally had enough and said, there is no more shouting with the devil. So they had to change it to Shout at the Devil. That's what I read anyway. And I could believe that.
It wasn't just two people coked out of their minds.
Well, you got to wonder about that, though, too. But I think Lita's partying, if you read her book, she was...
I actually haven't.
I have. And
I hear she was kind of batshit crazy, or is batshit crazy.
Well, and that's kind of the thing that got me about her book was... the thing that really I thought was unfair was reading the reviews of the book after I read it, and every one of them revolved around, all she does is talk about the famous guys she fucked. I'm thinking, how is that different from any guy who ever wrote a biography? Why is it a double standard for her? You know what? She was a good-looking guitar player. Yes, she's gonna fuck around with some other guitar players. Goddamn right she is. Why is that wrong? It's not wrong. But as far as her being batshit or whatever... The thing with her kids and the custody and all that, man, I'm not even going to touch because it really is just such a crazy fucking saga that we could do a whole podcast just on that. And I would probably have to side with Jim Gillette for fear that he'd kick my ass if I didn't. But, and we'll talk about Nitro at the very end of this.
Oh, Christ.
But, no, Jim Gillette seemed to come off as the more sane one in that whole thing. But, yeah, back to Motley. I think her partying was a bit more subdued than Nicky's. Nicky was just out to get obliterated, whereas Lita knew when to draw the line as far as doing blow and getting drunk or whatever. I think she had her head together. So I could believe her telling of her tales with Nicky and all that. So that's Shout. Any more thoughts on Shout at all?
No.
All right.
It's probably my favorite, I think.
And it's right after Too Fast for me, just because that was their metal album. I mean, that album was metal, and it was great. So then we go into
Theater of Pain.
Theater of Pain. Now, they're going back to their lives off stage. Holy shit. This was when Nicky started getting into heroin because he had a major car accident. That was also when Vince Neil got in that accident and the drummer for Hanoi Rocks was killed.
Right.
Yeah, they've got all this damage happening to them. Oh, yeah, Tommy Lee getting married to a woman who stabbed him in the back with a butter knife. Didn't happen on the bus like the movie said. It happened in their kitchen with a butter knife. And he had to drive to the hospital with that thing sticking out his back.
Wow.
Can you imagine a butter knife? How hard do you have to stab somebody to make that happen?
She's pissed.
Very much so. And this was after she sold pictures of them to high society. Yeah. Yeah, so they've got, and then Mick Mars was dating a woman that he referred to as the Thing, who used to regularly beat him up. Yeah, all this shit happened, and then they got to go into the studio and record Theater of Pain. Now, that album for me, as far as the Vinny era goes, is definitely my least favorite, just because the songs to me are just weak. I don't like them. It's not that they're bad, I don't like them.
So the working title for that was Entertainment or Death.
Yep. Right after their manager, Doc McGee, got that tattooed on his arm.
That's great.
And Nicky was known for that. Let's see. What was it? John Corabi had originally gotten a Till Death Do Us Part tattooed on his person wherever, and then they decided to change the album to self-titled. Yeah, it's almost like Nicky plans this shit just to fuck with people. Let's see. Generation Swine was originally supposed to be titled Personality 9, number 9 or something like that. I don't know that anybody got that tattooed, though. Oh. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Motley is Nicky's vision. That is his band. There's no doubt about it. Right or wrong. But yeah, so Theater of Pain, just the album. I've got the CD at home that I think I stole from somebody, or borrowed, if you will. My wife had a copy of that on purpose back in high school. And I don't know, I've listened to it with every type of ear that you can, and I cannot get into it.
Yeah, like I said, there's like 2 good songs, and
Louder Than Hell is good.
I'm just on to the next one.
Yeah, pretty much. So let's go to Girls, Girls, Girls. Oh, but one more thing about Theater of Pain. Love that album cover. Always have.
I think it's kind of lame.
I dig it, though, the comedy tragedy.
Oh, theater.
Yes.
Comedy and tragedy.
Well, exactly.
It's like they weren't cultured enough to know anything more about theater.
Actually, Nicky was. That's why it was Theater of Pain, because he was reading books about that. That's why Entertainment or Death was going to be the original title. Talking about court jesters, if you didn't make the king laugh, you were killed. Nicky is very well read. He is good at playing up the dumb rocker image. And I think whatever he was on probably aided that. But no, he's very well read. So, all right, Girls, Girls, Girls then. What do you think?
I don't know what to think.
Well, I guess I can tell you what I think about it.
In my opinion, there's just a couple of good songs on it. Also,
what are your good songs?
Just the hits. I like the hits.
Okay, I will give you that. My favorite song on that album, I don't care how lame this is Girls, Girls, Girls. Just because that was the song that whenever I'd go to the bar on any given weekend, I'd always request that song be played or put it in the jukebox. But there are always good moments in your life. And this one moment sticks out to me in that I think me and my brother were going bar hopping one night. And we walked into the back of this bar that we frequented. And the minute we opened the door, we hear the motorcycle rev, and then, ba-da! I just looked at my brother and went, I don't care what happens, we're going to have a good night. Because that's like something out of a movie. Whoever the main character is walking into the room and then, da-da! Woo! Fuck yeah, Girls, Girls, Girls. I don't give a shit how cheesy it is. That is my favorite song on that album. Probably my favorite Motley song. In fact, yeah, I'll say it's my favorite Motley song.
All right. Is that the song where he's like, the lyrics are something about a switchblade knife?
Yep. Yeah, and I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's another fun fact about Nicky Sixx, is he's very influenced by a band called Sweet, or The Sweet. British glam band from the 70s, who their album Off the Record I recommend everyone go check out because it's awesome. But Nicky was very influenced by them. And if you listen to the lyrics of, Live Wire, there's I'll either break her face or take down her legs. And then Girls, 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 Friday Night I Need a Fight. Sweet had a song called Sweet F.A., which they said was Fanny Adams. I think it was Sweet Fuck All or whatever. But the opening lines to that song are, "It's Friday night and I need a fight. If she don't spread, I'm gonna bust her head." It's like, holy shit. There's no way Nicky didn't lift that. And he would probably admit as much. But yeah, those lyrics came from The Sweet. So Nicky managed to take those and make them his own. Which, you hear Friday night and I need a fight, you automatically think Motley Crue. So
I'm sure it's more badass in Nicky's head.
It probably
come out of Vince's mouth.
Well, and that's the weird thing about Vince Neil is when you think of Vince Neil, the first thing you think is blonde, the blonde guy in the band and the pretty guy in the band. I mean, fucking when he was made up, was a good-looking chick. I mean, the fucking pretty boy, and boy did he probably got more ass than Gene Simmons. He just wasn't petty enough to keep a tally of it. I mean, this is a guy that, by his own admission, on the girls' tour, because he wasn't supposed to be drinking, just engulfed himself in fucking sex. And would set up like what he described as a sexual obstacle course with 12 different chicks in his hotel room. Just go about banging them. But yeah, that was Vinny. He's the guy as far as just groupie ass goes. The type of guy that, basically it's been said that you don't want him in the room with your girlfriend. And if you walk in on him with your girlfriend, he'd somehow talk you out of being mad. Or have you believing you didn't see what you just saw. So yeah, back to their fucking lifestyle overshadowing their music. But no, the thing with Vince's vocals is, you think of him as the high-pitched guy or whatever. But I think it was Stevie Rochelle.
I think I actually like the actor that portrayed him in The Dirt. I think I like better than the actual Vince Neil. Yeah.
See, and I like the actual Vince Neil. I think it was Stevie Rochelle from the band Tough, who also runs MetalSludge.com. I think it was him that said he made David Lee Roth evil. And I could buy that because, when you listen to Vinny's vocals, yeah, you hear the high-pitched shit, but there's a bite to some of his vocals that sounds kind of mean. And then if you think about Vince Neil himself, you would think, okay, pretty boy, we'll fuck with him. He's a fucking scrapper. He'll fight and he don't give a shit. And at least back in the day he would. The only issue I take with him is he was also a woman beater. He got arrested in the very early 80s. I think it was at the Whiskey A Go-Go for belting a chick who said something about the Marine uniform he was wearing. Yeah, just flat out hit her. I can't cotton to that, to be honest with you. You're a bitch beater. That's not cool at all. But if you push that aside, I like Vinny because Vinny is just Vinny and he don't give a shit. As in his own words, this is why I got in this business in the first place, free booze and chicks, and he fucking absolutely lived that.
Fun fact.
Sure.
In 2016, Vince Neil Band was supposed to play at the inauguration of Donald Trump.
I remember that, and they backed out, didn't they?
I don't know if they backed out.
I'm pretty sure they did. I would hope they did anyway, but yeah, I remember that. Yeah, fucking, God. I don't want to get...
That seems really weird for the Republican Party to ask Vince Neil to come play.
But think about who is the head of that party now, and think about what musicians are aligning themselves with him. Ted Nugent, Kid Rock. You're starting to see people's true colors as far as that goes. And I would think even Vince Neil would say, I'm not going to get into that. No way. I don't have anything to do with it. I really think that's probably what happened. It's like, no, I don't care. Donald Trump probably... Before this presidential run, Vinny probably would have had something to do with because he was just some other old guy who liked young ass, But no, after everything Trump did, people just are running away from it, and they should, But
not to get too far off the beaten path there. But
okay.
Back to the Crue.
Yes, by all means, get me back there, please.
What's next, Dr. Feelgood?
Dr. Feelgood, which I will just sum up by saying, sonically, musically, it's too perfect. And that's why I kind of don't like it. That and they were all clean. I'm sorry, I like my Motley Crue on drugs.
They were all clean singing about a guy bringing them drugs.
Yeah, which...
Because they were Jones and hard.
Well, and that's the thing about Nicky Sixx is he set out to write that kind of album. He, by his own admission, started listening to Whitney Houston and pop groups. And then they got Bob Rock to produce it. They wanted a massive mainstream album, and they fucking got it. but it's one I don't really like listening to.
You know, yeah, I like Kickstart My Heart, I think.
I hate that song. I'm sorry to say.
But you know what I do hate? Same Old Situation. I fucking hate that.
Now
because it reminds me of Poison.
Now we're back to being polar opposites again. Very good, because I was going to say the one song I like on that album is Same Old Situation.
Fuck that song. It's stupid.
It is dumb, but the damn thing is I like it because just it accomplished what it was supposed to. It's just a good sleazy rock song. Whereas Kickstart My Heart, my first thought every time I hear that is, Montrose did this in 1973, and they called the song Bad Motor Scooter. and fucking, but the other thing is just the lyrics. It's like, okay, Nikki Sixx is good at writing cheesy lyrics, and he's good at being clever too. But the lyrics are just cheesy in a way that I really can't get into it. Kickstart My Heart. Jesus, how long did it take you to come up with that? Yes, I know it was about you getting revived from your heroin overdose, but Kickstart My Heart. Come on, can't you call it something different?
Like Kickstart My Cock.
The national anthem. I don't know. I don't. Maybe, and I think probably I don't like it because it's overplayed. It's like, mutual friend of ours, Dave Sappenfield, at one point went on Facebook bad-mouthing the song, and I asked him. I said, "What's your problem with the song?" He's like, "It's in every fucking 80s-based movie ever, or anything that has to do with like racing. The Talladega Nights. It was in that. It was in Hot Tub Time Machine. Yeah, it's like the go-to song, and I think that's probably why I don't like it, because it's just fucking overplayed." So, but as far as the title track to that album, God, that drum beat is just immense. It's fucking perfection. If you remember nothing else about the song, you remember that dun, 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 and it's perfect. That's Tommy at his best,
Yeah, it was probably their best produced record.
Oh, easily. And Nikki talked about that too, how they were just got their asses kicked in the studio because it was never good enough. And Vinny didn't care for that. Because of course he did. I mean, you having to do the same vocal take over and over. Ask Joe Elliott from Def Leppard about that. It gets maddening. All right, so Dr. Feelgood. Now let's go to John Corabi, shall we?
Is that what's next?
It is, actually. The Decade of Decadence, which...
Oh, is that like a greatest hits?
It was, and it had a couple of new songs on it. One of them was Primal Scream, which is my stepson's favorite Crue song. And then there's their cover of Teaser, which was a Tommy Bolin song.
I just want to say I haven't listened to anything since Dr. Feelgood.
Did you at all listen to Corabi?
Nope.
Okay, well, I think you should, because I think you'd appreciate it. Corabi had a real dirty voice. He wasn't Vince Neil, that's for damn sure. But as far as I guess I'll give my views on that album. Musically, it was and remains fucking just miles ahead of anything else that band did. Mixed guitar playing was just filthier than ever. Tommy's drums, he never played better than he did on that album. But the problem that I have with it is there's nothing memorable about it. There are literally... I can remember the song Hooligan's Holiday because it was on MTV, but I couldn't tell you how any other song on that album goes. I just know I've listened to it. I thought this is good quality stuff, but there's nothing that you can remember. There are no hooks, and that's unfortunate. Because people always say, well, different time, if it had been a different band, it would have been huge. I don't think it would have been huge. Not because it was bad, but because there's nothing to remember on it.
Glenn Hughes did some backing vocals on a song called Misunderstood.
No shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's brilliant.
Fun fact.
That is a very fun fact. I like it. I didn't know that. But, yeah, so that's Motley Crue. And, of course, it didn't blow up, so they had to get Vinny back. And then you got fucking Generation Swine. Have you ever listened to that album?
No.
Chad, don't. I'm just saying.
I don't plan on it.
Flat out don't. Now, when that album came out, my backstory to that is that was when it was the big reunion with Vince Neil, and I was just getting into the Crue, so I was fucking stoked, It's like, holy shit, this is happening in my time. This is great, So, and we've talked about me going to see Motley Crue the first time. They were touring on that album, and I remember getting the album and listening to it, and because I was a Crue fan, I'm like, okay, I'll give this a chance. I'll find some good stuff in this, but yeah, in hindsight, it's just Vince hates it, Mick hates it. Tommy and Nikki don't really say much about it, but it's just been regarded as their worst album, and it was their worst album because it was probably the first, if not the only time, Nikki Sixx was trying way too hard to be relevant and current. And it didn't work at all. I mean, even Nikki has said on that tour, he's playing a song like Flush, which is just fucking depressing. And watching the crowd kind of go blank, but then when they'd play Livewire, even he himself would just be like, get brought back to life. It's almost like they had to do that album to remember who and what the Crue actually were. But, oh boy, I mean, I can't even listen to it in retrospect because I don't like to say anything sucks because nobody gets to say that. But as far as a Crue record, the only thing Crue about it is Vince Neil's voice and Tommy Lee's drums. But no, it is just, it was a big misstep, and that's unfortunate.
I'm glad I'm not missing anything.
You're not. Actually, I don't apologize. Don't listen to it. You will. If I were to tell you, yeah, go listen to it, you'd probably come to my house and beat me up for 40 minutes just to get back the time you wasted on it. No, just don't. So let's go. The next album, I believe, was New Tattoo. Now, Tommy Lee did not play on that album.
So this was recorded in 2000.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was when Tommy Lee had left to do Methods of Mayhem.
And we all know how that went.
Phil Anselmo summed it up best, and he summed up how I felt about it, because Ozfest 2000, Pantera played, and Methods of Mayhem played. And I remember watching Methods of Mayhem, because I thought, cool, I'll see Tommy live again. I'll see what this is about at least. And the way Phil described it, because somebody asked him, so what'd you think of Methods of Mayhem? Probably looking for an awesome sound, because we don't know how Phil feels about rap. But he summed it up when he said, yeah, I just felt sorry for him. And I thought, that's exactly how I felt. Because here's Tommy with the sideways baseball cap, fucking doing this rapping shit. He's not playing drums at all. But it's like he's trying so hard to be cool and to be relevant. Whereas, like, what made you relevant was being Tommy Lee in Motley Crue, not this.
Yeah, but, like, so that's who he is now. He's whatever iteration of himself in 2000 is what I think of him now.
Well, what Vince Neil summed it up best. This is what I love about Vince Neil and really Motley Crue at all. They'll talk mad shit about each other and not care. But Vince Neil had said something to the effect of, if Tommy Lee had tits, he'd be a Spice Girl. Basically saying that Tommy will do whatever is current.
Tommy Spice.
Tommy Spice. Fucking Long John Silver. Long Dong Silver Spice. But, yeah, that's the whole thing is, I'll give Tommy credit because the way Tommy has put it is, I love all kinds of music. I want to explore all of it. And you know what? Good for him. And as far as his love of rap, Tommy's a drummer. Rap is all about beats. That makes sense. But, to go ahead and try something, absolutely, you have a right to do it. You earned the right to do it. But to be surprised when people aren't into it.
Do you think he pushed real hard to have that Machine Gun Kelly play him in the movie?
I don't think so, but I think he was probably elated as all fuck when it happened. Because I remember reading, before the movie was released, reading who the cast was, and seeing that and going, oh, Tommy has just got a hard on right now, because a rapper gets to play him. Which, incidentally, as far as...
it worked.
I was going to say, as far as performances in that movie, fucking Machine Gun Kelly just nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. And oddly enough, fun fact about that movie, the guy who played Nikki Sixx, did you know that actor also played Boy George?
I did not know that.
Yep, in a movie called Worried About the Boy. I watched it, and he played Boy George brilliantly. And then I watched him play Nikki Sixx, and I was like, holy shit, but there was one moment where he pulled off the Nikki part convincingly, and it was when Vince gets out of jail, and he goes into the studio, and they're all just wrecked and all kinds of fucked up, and Nikki says, hey, do a bump with me, brother. And Vince, the character, Vince snorts the line and pukes, and he looks up and says, what the fuck was that? And the Nikki guy goes, that was smack. That was the most he sounded like Nikki Sixx. It's like he nailed his voice, his inflections, all of it. That was smack. It's like, holy shit, that was Nikki. But yeah, so wherever we were at, New Tattoo. Okay, so New Tattoo was not with Tommy Lee. It was with Randy Castillo from Ozzy's band.
Well, you couldn't ask for a better drummer.
No, great drummer. Brilliant drummer. But here's the thing. That was the album that when you heard it, this is what a great drummer Tommy Lee is. Randy Castillo is a great drummer, but man, he ain't Tommy. And those songs, you could tell it was a different drummer. And that's where, when they found out replacing Vince or whatever, Motley Crue to me is very much like Pantera or like Zeppelin. They are the sum of all four parts. You cannot replace one of them ever and expect it to sound the same. And yeah, the drummer, it's like, because I listened to songs off that and fucking Punched in the Teeth by Love. The story behind that I'm not going to get into, but I was just like, okay, this is good, but it's not Tommy, so this really isn't Motley. And then they went on tour. Randy got cancer and eventually passed away. So he was ill, so they had to get a touring drummer, and do you remember who that drummer was?
Samantha something.
Mahoney.
Samantha Mahoney.
Yep. And she never recorded any albums with them, but they did release that DVD.
Like the live?
Yep, Lewd, Crude, and Tattooed.
Yeah.
Which I believe I stole off my friend Sarah. And I think I still have it. But I watched it, and I thought, this is fucking great. And even Vinny live is going, hey, I don't know if you noticed we got a girl drummer. Like only Vinny can, but that was the greatest. If you were going to accuse them of having a gimmick, that was the greatest gimmick. Motley Crue, girls, they're fucking groupies, and they've got a woman in the band. I thought, Jesus, this is genius. These guys are fucking amazing. But for as good as she wasn't Tommy. So it didn't sound like Motley Crue to me. So, where do we go after that? Is it Saints of Los Angeles?
You would know more than me because I gave up on Motley Crue in 1989.
Okay, that's fair. No, so the album they did after that, so Samantha Mahoney had an affair with Nikki Sixx on the road. Clearly that fucked up her chances of doing anything else.
She couldn't help herself.
I don't think he could help himself. Because she did an interview with Metal Sludge. And one of the questions was, how long before Vince tried to get in your pants? And I can't remember what her answer was. Something smart ass. But then Nikki came out years later and admitted that he had an affair with her on the road.
So she played in Hole?
Yep, she sure did. Yep, that's where she came from. But, yeah, so that whole era ended. Then Tommy came back and they did, I think the first thing they did was Red, White, and Crude, that greatest hits thing. Which,
also fun fact.
Sure.
Samantha Mahoney, Maloney, sorry. Fucking up her name.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen too.
Eagles of Death Metal.
Oh, she was in that? Oh, okay. But, yeah, so they did that greatest hits thing. I don't know how many fucking greatest hits albums they have out, but they did Red, White, and Crude, and they did a couple new songs on there. And once again, Nikki writing songs that sound like 2005. And I believe that's when they did the Carnival of Sins tour, because I know my wife saw him.
What was he doing at that time? 6 a.m. or what was that other fucking thing?
I think 6 a.m. may have came just after that.
Did he do something else?
There was 58 was one of Brides of fucking Destruction.
Oh, okay.
Yes, with Tracy Guns and London LeGrand, the singer. Yeah, that was 2003. But
hard to keep track.
It is. But yeah, so they did the Carnival of Sins tour off the back of that, and that was where my wife saw them. And we had talked about that, and she said, yeah, I said, well, what did you think of Motley Crue? Because I clearly wasn't there with her at the time. But she said, oh, it was great, except Vince, I think his mic was cutting out. I'm like, why do you think that? Well, because all I heard was every other word. I said, babe, his mic wasn't cutting out. That's how Vince sings live.
You're just fucking cheating your fans at that point.
Well, yes and no. Because, I saw Vince Neil solo at the Surf. Fucking 2012, I think. But that's the whole thing about him is, and he's addressed that. According to him, it's because he's running around and it's hard to keep his breath. Okay, fine, fair enough. But, I don't go to a live concert. I don't know about you, but I don't go to a live concert to hear an album. If I want to hear the album, I'll hear the album. I go to the concert for the experience.
That's fine, and that's fair to a certain point. But
sure.
If you're just gonna omit half your fucking lyrics,
yeah,
then fuck you.
Yeah, I get what you're saying too. Because
do some cardio, Vince.
Well, and
what the fuck happened to you?
No, and I see that too. Because
because you're seriously cheating your fucking audience.
And there's something to be said for that. Because this could be the only time some kid or some 40-year-old ever sees Motley Crue, and that's the experience they're given.
Here's some of that whiskey room temperature because I ran out of ice. It's okay.
I don't even want to get up to get the ice. I just want to keep going.
That's fine.
But yeah, let's get that bottle back on the table,
Here
Cowboy. There you go. Jesus. But anyway, no, I get what you're saying, and I agree with it to an extent. But at the same time, the most memorable concerts to me are the ones either with the mistakes or the fuck-ups or something like that, you know. It's like going to see Pantera, you know. You're not going to listen to the Great Southern Trendkill and hear a between-song rant, but you're sure the fuck going to hear it live. And that's fun to me. And I kind of got a kick out of seeing Vince Neil trying to sing Shout at the Devil. He's a wolf. Night. Stage. I mean, it's just like, okay, this is Vinny. This is what I expect. I'm fine with this. But I get your end of it, too. It's like, come on, you had one job. Right? Why can't you do this for an hour and a half? So, yeah, there's...
Or he just mumbles,
Oh,
feel
God.
good.
Oh, Jesus. You know, the one thing I'll give Vinny credit for is Motley has kept the same key that whole time. They never have to tune down for him.
Because they started to tune down.
Yes, and they kept it that way, but I don't know. Did you ever...
Which I have to say, they did a nice job in that movie with the realism.
Yes.
Because they actually had, like, real gear and the real instruments that were kind of true to that time period. And, like when he was like, hey, why don't we tune it down?
Yep. Yeah,
the guy playing Mick Mars or whatever.
Which, okay, can we just say that the best character in that whole movie was Mick?
Probably, yeah.
Everybody loved Mick in that movie.
Definitely.
What band? Fucking all of it. Yeah, Mick came out the fucking hero in that movie, and I'm glad he did. But, yeah, so anyway, Jesus, what the hell were we on? All right, that Greatest Hits, Carnival of Sins, and on and on.
I don't know anymore.
But then after that was Saints of Los Angeles, their big comeback with Tommy, and it was a Motley album for sure. But by that point, even I, as a fan, was bored of it because Nicky wrote a Motley album. Those songs sound like a Motley album. But it's like, I've heard these songs before. That ba-da-da-da-da-da, you know, just Tommy's hard-hitting drumming, fucking mix riffing, Vince fucking doing what only Vinny can, you know. And it was Motley, like, amazingly Motley, but just by that point, even I was bored with it. It's like, I don't expect them to progress, because we saw what happened when they progressed. Everyone hated it, you know.
Hey, I think I like this whiskey on the rocks a lot better than just straight.
Do you?
Oh, God.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, since I'm sucking...
No,
I was just going to say, since I'm sucking the air out of this conversation, I'm going to give you a chance to rant and talk shit. I'm grabbing us some ice. I'll be right back, kids.
I'm not going to rant and talk shit, but I think this will be a perfect segue into Poison.
Yeah. Okay, so let's wrap up Motley then. Final thoughts on Motley.
I like a few of their songs. I like that they were the more edgy of the cock rock groups.
Sure.
And I don't have a problem listening to them every once in a while.
Okay.
And I thought the Dirt movie was fucking sweet.
Hell yeah.
I don't know how much they actually had to do with that, but it was pretty cool.
They had everything to do with it.
Well, hey, I was entertained by the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose my final thoughts on Motley is, as I've gone into in previous podcasts, I was a fan of theirs when it was not cool to be a fan of theirs. I didn't make any apologies for it then. I certainly don't make any apologies for it now. And I'm a fan of theirs because I get the distinct idea there are a lot of fans of theirs because of the image. They're bad boys and this and that, which, you know what? That's fucking awesome. And they played that better than anybody by design. But I love their music. I always have. And I will say just the first two albums are just the best. And not even so much within the realm of Motley Crue. They're just great albums, period. To all our listeners, I highly recommend just get yourself a copy of Too Fast for Love and enjoy it, because it's fucking awesome. And pay attention to the fact that Nicky, while not the best bassist, wrote great songs and created a fucking image for that band that worked. Vinny, I don't care what anyone says, is a good vocalist when he's singing, and is just the epitome of the I'm gonna get drunk and fuck some groupies rock star, and it's brilliant. That's what I love about the guy. And then, but as far as the musicianship, Mick, in my opinion, and Chad, you're a guitarist, so give me your view on it, the most underrated guitarist of all time. That's my opinion.
Of Mick? I don't know about all time, but he's definitely underrated.
Okay.
So, Motley Crue kind of floats on that hard rock metal edge,
Yes.
Well, he's also a very good blues guitar player.
Oh, yeah. Those were his influences, Jeff Beck and those guys. But, yeah, and then Tommy by his own design loves attention, needs attention. That's why when you hear Tommy Lee, you think gigantic dick or fucking spinning fucking roller coaster drum solos or whatever. But Tommy, as a musician, is probably, oh God, it's hard to say this, but I gotta say he, as far as just straight ahead rock and roll, is my favorite drummer. Just because the minute he hits the snare, the minute he plays, it's Tommy. He is an accomplished drummer, period. I mean, I wish for my part that he would stop with all the other shit, but you know what? I can't say he's wrong for that. You know what? He's got other interests. Fucking let him explore them. That's fine. But to me, just as far as his drumming, he's untouchable. I think he's fucking brilliant. As far as hard rock goes. Now, are we getting into thrash and death? I don't know if Tommy could play that or not. I don't really care if he could. I think as far as hard rock goes, there's just nobody better. In my opinion, he's solid. He's on it. And when he plays, it's him. So I'm getting a size. Take it from there, Chadwick. I'll be right back.
Now that I've got my drink iced up.
Oh, so what do you think of the whiskey?
It just tastes like it's just whiskey.
I
don't think it's spectacular. I think I don't know, like maybe I like Crown more than I like this.
Right. Yeah, well, let me know when we're in.
We're already on.
All right, terrific. So now that we've discussed Motley Crue, we're gonna get into Poison here.
All right, let's just take a second. We need a breather.
Glam breather.
Did you watch or listen to anything that you enjoyed?
Just the same old stuff I always have.
Oh, come on. You got to branch out, man.
I don't want... I'm 40 years old, Chad.
That's fine.
And
so, since you listen to the same shit, I'll just tell you what I've been listening to.
I listened to the April Wine album, Harder, Faster, a lot this week, all right? That was one of my dad's favorites, and it's a great album.
Good. That's good. So I listened to Howling Giant, Black Hole Space Wizard, parts 1 and 2.
All right.
And it was great. Stoner Doom.
I was going to say, all of this is fucking Stoner Doom.
Of course.
Sure.
Because it's good. It's nice to just chill out, too.
Yeah, I got you.
And then I also watched that Kitty documentary.
And I never got around to that.
It's really good.
Okay.
The core of the band are the sisters, obviously.
Yes, Kitty the band from Canada.
Yeah. I forgot they're from Canada.
Hamilton, Ontario, I believe.
Fucking, I don't know. Canadian land. It's all the same place to me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got a backstory with Canada, so we'll leave it at that.
It's good. I mean, they got really good.
They did. Oh, like their first album and their second one, Oracle.
Yeah, there's a huge jump in talent.
Oracle is a fucking great album, period.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good watch. I recommend it to anybody who's a metalhead because they totally rip.
They do. They were brutal.
The drummer,
Mercedes.
She is a fucking machine.
Okay, so, yeah, I never dove that deep into Kitty, but I probably should. In fact, we got to do another podcast. You had mentioned this before. Female rock bands. We need to cover this.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And then a little bit of news.
Sure.
I have so Metallica is buying. Let's see if I have this right. They're buying like some other band's catalog.
Help me out because I know what you're talking about.
I don't know which band, but they form. There's some kind of I don't know if they're like an LLC or some. They're like scooping up like other bands' music.
Yes,
like sort of an investment thing.
Damn it! And I know what you're talking about, and I can't remember because I know the article. I read it.
Yeah, like their manager and then someone else. They formed like some kind of investment group where they're just buying some like $300 to $500 million worth of bands, songs, and intellectual property. And
good God, Lars, don't you have enough fucking money?
See, I'm trying to figure out what the motivation
Cash.
You think so?
Yes.
Why would they need it?
Well, because they're greedy. Why did
I
Jordan
don't think-
Belfort need
I don't
as much
think
money
it's-
as he did?
I don't think it's greed.
It's
hard to know. I don't know.
Maybe not greed, but addiction. I think you can get addicted to money. And I think Lars is.
You're talking about a band that owns their own musical catalog.
Yeah, which is so uncommon.
It is.
In fact, Motley Crue.
Motley Crue is like one of the other bands that own their own music.
U2 doesn't even own their own music.
Yeah.
And Motley Crue pulled it off the best way possible by calling their fucking boss a cunt on stage, and she just got sick of it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, Sylvia's a cunt. Yeah, so...
And then there was something else in the news about Jakey Lee, and he's still not getting the proper songwriting credits.
No.
And there was a time when Sharon called him up to cover, like this. So this would, I'm not sure which year, but Zakk Wylde was playing in the band with Ozzy. She called up Jakey Lee because Zakk was out of control drunk at the time.
Oh, wait, this probably would have been right before Osmosis, perhaps.
Probably. So he said to
Or
her,
right after.
he said to her that he would do it if he could get his proper songwriting credits, and they never called him back on it.
Well, and that's the whole hell of, like, Lee Kerslake, or however you say his name, had to be diagnosed with fucking cancer before they would send him a couple of platinum albums for the albums that he played on. You know, Bob Daisley, the bass player for Blizzard and Diary, same story. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they fucking recorded over him on
Yes.
those reissues.
Yes, and in fact, I was having this discussion with my stepson about it because his dad is a huge Ozzy fan. He's a huge Ozzy fan. And he had said something, I don't remember how we got to talking about this, but I said, you know, I've got a CD copy of Blizzard of Oz, and I'm not getting rid of it because I don't know if I'll ever hear the originals again. As it turns out, they went back to them.
I have the original vinyls.
See, and I had the original vinyl of Diary of a Madman. Oddly enough, I gave it to my stepson's father for Father's Day one year. Just because my ex-wife, God bless her, was singing for an Ozzy tribute band in Austin. And as a result of that, that meant we had to listen to nothing but Ozzy for 3 months. And holy shit, I can't listen to him anymore. Nothing against him or anybody in that band, but it's like, I can't fucking do it anymore because she wasn't listening to deeper cuts. It was all the hits. And it's like, I hear fucking Crazy Train one more goddamn time. Just fucking had to get rid of it. But yeah, so I was discussing that with my stepson, and I said, you know, there was a period of time where those bass and drum tracks were switched. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, yeah, Crazy Train, listen to the remastered or whatever the fuck version versus the 1981 version. Yeah, you can tell the difference. You know Robert Trujillo's bass tone immediately. And I thought, on her part, Sharon's part, what a dick fucking move.
She seems like a real cunt.
She is awful. But she's awful in the fact that she's very protective of her husband and his interests. But the thing is...
You mean her money?
Yes. Yes. And the damn thing is, how many people get fucked over as a result of it?
Seems like a lot.
Yes.
If they don't have to pay you, they won't, from what I understand.
Yeah, and you know what? Ozzy, for his part, he's complacent in this, but that makes him just as guilty. You know, period. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, all right.
You ever heard of a mix spoon?
No, I have not.
Okay. This is just a little fun piece of news I grabbed because I figured it would pique your interest because it's drug related.
Yeah, I'm all ears.
Okay, so mix spoon in the 70s, possibly the 80s. I can't quite recall.
Okay.
McDonald's, when they served you coffee, they used to give you a little spoon, little tiny itty bitty spoon that had like an M on the handle. Well, they got rid of those.
Did they?
And the reasoning they got rid of them is because mix spoon became a slang, and like people used it as a Coke spoon. It was like a little perfect serving for a little bump.
Dude, I feel like I missed out on something because that is perfect. McSpoon. God damn it.
Yeah.
Why couldn't I have known this terminology when I was doing this shit?
So the McDonald's company purposely changed it because they didn't want to be associated with a drug term.
Okay, and I could see that. You're kind of covering your ass at that point. I could see that. Huh. That's a great tidbit.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Let's see. The only news that I've been aware of is God, politics, Trump.
Nah, we're not going to talk about that.
Please don't, because I could just go on for an hour about how bronzed his fucking face is looking anymore.
So here's a nice segue into what we're going to talk about, which is Poison.
All right.
So I thought this was a little fun tidbit of debauchery.
Okay.
So I guess one time Ace Frehley was over at Dimebag's house, and they had like hookers and shit.
Sure.
So Ace ended up getting a blowy in front of everybody.
Huh. Good for him.
How fucking rock and roll debauchery, much more can you get?
I don't know. Keep in mind that the band Hinder, you remember them? Yeah, their guitarist was named Joe Blower Garvey because he got a blowjob in front of a bunch of people at a party, which is grammatically incorrect because he would be the blowee, getting the blowjob. But no, they call him Joe Blower. So I don't give any real cred to anything like that, because if somebody from Hinder is benefiting from that, then I don't care. Sorry, I don't.
You just stomped all over my Ace Frehley story with Hinder. Thanks.
I don't care. Fuck Hinder. And, Ace, good for him. But if you read Sebastian Bach's book, Ace also ripped off one of his songs and didn't give him credit. Hey, I love Ace. I think of all the original Kiss members, he's my favorite. There's no doubt about it. But not always the best guy in the world either, really.
All right, let's talk about how Poison blows goats.
Yeah, I think Poison got blown more than they ever blew anybody. And that's going to be pretty much the foundation of why they were so hated.
I just want to say that I had a cassette copy of Look What the Cat Dragged In.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
I didn't even own any Poison.
I don't know how or why I had it, but I remember having it.
Okay.
But I also had a cassette copy of the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey soundtrack.
That's a shame, because that movie was so awful.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and I thought the
Bogus Journey?
Yeah, it was great. And
no, it wasn't. It was horrible.
No, it was great.
No,
you're wrong. You're wrong. It was great. There were robots and giant butt cheek aliens. It was hilarious.
You had a creature running around yelling "station" the whole time, and nobody knows what the fuck "station" means.
And as I pointed out to you earlier,
okay.
Danny Carey from Tool looks just like that fucking alien.
Kinda does.
It's awesome.
Hey, Jim Martin was in the movie, okay? That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was.
Station! What the fuck is station? Why is that why?
I don't know, but I like it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I don't. But sorry, but I don't.
So I listened to recently, just to prime myself for this. I listened to Look What the Cat Dragged In and Open Up and Say fucking
Yeah, come on, say it right.
Open Up and Say
Yeah, fair enough. Close enough. Okay, I have been dying to know your thoughts on these. I don't care if it's one word. Fuck.
Well, all right. So I tried to be serious about it,
and I salute you for
it. So I kind of did a little bit of a stream of consciousness note taking here and there.
Oh, I cannot wait.
So I summed it up. Look What the Cat Dragged In as sexed up and brain dead.
Very much so.
I don't have a favorite song.
No,
I don't think I had a favorite song.
Not even Talk Dirty to Me?
And then my least favorite song, my note here says The Rest of Them.
There is some weak sauce on that album. I'm not going to disagree.
The whole thing.
That.
So here's my observation.
All right.
It's like stupid 12-bar blues rock shuffling.
Yeah.
On like every song. It's just the 12-bar blues shuffle, which is boring to me, and I don't like it. So
okay, that's fair.
I'm already entering it with an attitude.
Well, yeah.
And so you would argue the only saving grace would be CeCe DeVille's lead playing.
I still argue that.
And it's just lazy. It is not good. It is just lazy.
Well, and that's what I wondered. You as a guitarist, I really wanted your honest opinion, your honest view of it.
I don't know why they just thought it was so good. It's not.
Cocaine is why they thought it was so good.
It's not that great. Or at least, on that record, it's not that great.
All right, so let's go to Open Up and Say,
I do. Oh, no, I'm not done yet.
Oh, you see, you got more on an album that you hated.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did want to make note that I thought the drums sounded big.
Wait, what?
They had kind of a bigger drum sound. Like that's I think it's probably
the cannon blast snare.
Yeah, the sort of the beginning of that arena rock drum sound.
Yeah, okay, all right, fair enough.
And then I it just kind of, what fucking 12-year-old wrote these lyrics?
A 12-year-old named Bret Michaels.
Yeah.
And that's what
That's probably exactly what it was. So the best you heard your mother, turn that shit off. You're damn right.
Oh, Jesus.
Gladly. Right. And then also, what the fuck did they do to Jim Croce, man?
What
they covered a Jim Croce song on there.
Wait.
That tug on Superman's cape, spit into the wind song.
What the hell song are you talking about?
I can't remember.
You don't mess around with Jim? That's not on that album.
Or maybe, well, you know what? I did listen to like the re-release one, so maybe it was.
Okay, and I was listening to vinyl.
I didn't. I don't have access to that.
They did a cover of "You Don't Mess Around with Jim."
I think so.
Oh Lord! But then again, they covered "Your Mama Don't Dance," so I shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so I bet you that's what it was, because I listened to like the reissue stuff on Amazon Music.
Okay, I got you.
So yeah, that was awful.
All right, so
yeah, they did. You don't mess around with Jim.
I did not know. I did not know that.
And it was just stupid.
Well, now I can about picture how it sounded too. So I don't know.
And you'd be correct.
Any more thoughts on "Look What the Cat Drugged In," whatever the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, there was more. All right.
Cry tough in the streets to get what you want.
Least favorite song of that album. I'll agree with you. It's terrible.
Number one, Bad Boy sounds like a middle schooler's version of what tough looks like.
All right, good call.
And then this must have just been one of my own thoughts. Is "Let Me Go to the Show, Mama. I'll be a good boy."
Yep.
Evidently, it was recorded. It took 12 days to record.
Yeah. They didn't even have a record deal at that point.
And it was like $23,000 out of their own pocket.
Yeah, it's essentially a demo. And to me, I guess my thoughts on it are probably going to be a bit more involved than yours. Or maybe not, but yeah, the sound, the mix. It's funny you mentioned Ricky Rocket's drum tone being big or whatever the fuck. To me, Poison was the epitome of what 80s bands were, to where you paid attention to the singer and the guitarist, and the drummer and the bassist were almost afterthoughts. And that's kind of how I feel about...
Yeah, they could literally be anybody.
Yes, and that's kind of how I feel about Ricky and Bobby on that album. That's not saying overall about them or what they grew into, but on that album, Ricky's drums, there are so many parts that are just, to me, not good. It's almost like he was grasping for straws with some of his fills and everything else. It's like, it's enough that he kept time, and that's good. But
yeah, because it's that fucking 12-bar blues shuffle.
Yes. But
he was probably bored, just like I'm bored.
Yeah, well, there's one moment in I Want Action where I can't wait to get their hands on it. He does this weird snare roll, and it's so out of place. I'm convinced he put it in there with the thoughts of having a video a few months later where some chick shakes her ass to the beat of that snare roll. That's the only purpose I could see it serving. And then Bobby Dahl, his bass tone is awful on that album. It's just irritating. And he's not really keeping time. He's not a fucking good bass player on that album, but in retrospect, even he has acknowledged, it's like, his quote was, "I didn't grow up listening to Bach, I grew up listening to AC/DC. You know, this is rock and roll." You know, they weren't trying to be Rush. They weren't trying to be anything just that involved. You know, you talk about boring 12-bar blues. Well, no shit. That's exactly what they were going for. And that's where I think they get a bum rap, because people listen to this and go, "Oh, God, they suck. They can't play." They didn't want to. That wasn't their goal.
Their goal was to just get ass.
Yes, and that's by their own admission.
I guess that's fine, but it just makes for really shitty, boring music.
See, and to me, I gotta disagree with you on that, because now that particular album,
the lyrics are lame as
well, of
fuck.
course they're lame, but they're meant to be lame. Bret Michaels wasn't trying to write The Trees or 2112.
I don't believe they were meant to be lame. I think they're lame because he just didn't put any effort into it.
I think he put the effort into what he was trying to put it into. Write about a party. Write about
because
ass.
that's all he could fucking remember. Because that's
all he wanted to remember.
All they did.
Yes, and you know what? That's more genuine than anything.
They weren't writing any songs about kicking ass or nothing. They were just...
And this is where...
writing about, I'm going to be late for work because I'm too hungover because I partied at the greatest party ever last night on the Sunset Strip.
And this is where I get into the notes that I took.
Jesus, get over yourself, guys.
Well, that's the whole thing is they weren't getting over themselves. They weren't trying to be anything that was... you had to get over.
Because they got a tiny bit of popularity, and then then they didn't... Well, you know what I mean.
Tiny. They were massive in the mid-'80s.
Right, but, you know, that's probably why I think they were so lazy as musicians, is because they got a little bit of notoriety at first, and then it didn't fucking... there was no incentive to put any effort into your music.
Well, yes and no, because if you start going into albums like Flesh and Blood and Native Tongue, that's when they started trying to write deeper subjects, and it wasn't what their fans wanted. You know, that's good that Bret Michaels is writing about standing up for what you believe. I don't give a fuck about that coming out of that band. No, just tell me about having nothing but a good time or whatever the fuck.
I don't care about anything coming out of this band.
And that's fine, but no, to me, these are the notes I took about Poison. And this is where I think...
Have we moved on to open up and say...
Not yet we haven't. Not yet we haven't. And this is where I'm going with it. This is where I defend Poison. You know, because...
to the death.
Well, it could very well be that way where I'm going to go with this. But, no, okay, so this is where, okay, Poison was hated. Fuck were they hated in the day. And they were hated primarily, most of all, by thrash fans and thrash bands. Now, this is where you get into Dave Mustaine. I think he was probably the most vocal critic of bands like Poison. Not necessarily Poison, but bands like that. And he's been quoted a few times, even in his own autobiography, of saying, yeah, Glam stands for gay LA music, which I think you might be a bit off, because if there's one thing that Glam wasn't, it was gay. They were not gay. They were getting more ass than anybody. It was straight LA music, if anything. But I find it kind of funny that Dave Mustaine is the most outspoken critic of bands like that. And it was captured on video during that VH1 series I Love the 80s. Did you ever watch that?
Of course.
It was fucking brilliant. But they went, I think it was 1986 or 7. They were talking about the whole glam thing that exploded. And Dave Mustaine was on the panel, of course, and he says, and I'm paraphrasing literally all of this, by the way. He says something to the effect of, yeah, talk dirty to me. If you need, and he's addressing, obviously, Bret Michaels. He's saying, if you need a girl to talk to you during sex, you got problems, pal. Clearly, they showed this clip to Bret, because it goes to Bret right after that, and Bret just addresses him. He says, Dave, personally, I like a girl to make some noise when I'm making love to her, but if you want her to be dead quiet, more power to you. And I thought, you know what, Bret, you fucking won. Because it just blew Dave's argument out of the water. Oh, you gotta have a girl talk dirty to you. It's like, and Bret's like, I want the bitch to fucking make some noise. I want to know that she's enjoying it. I'm like, I'm with Bret on this 100%. And they didn't have a comeback from Dave. I'm sure Dave is watching that going, damn it. What do you say back to that? I'm sorry, Bret was right. And that gets into...
Bret can be right, but Megadeth wrote better music.
Okay, but here's the thing. Better music? Yes. But this is the other point that I made. I wrote notes up on this. I've thought about this for a while. The bands weren't so different in certain respects. I think the main difference was Poison got more ass than they could fucking keep track of, and Megadeth didn't. And it pissed them off, and this is why I say that. If you take... I sent you this message. I don't know if you even thought about this, but... Okay, take the song Look What the Cat Dragged In. I don't give a fuck. That's a cool riff. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. If you sped it up or slowed it down or put different drums on it, that could be a thrash riff. It's a fucking great riff. I'm not going to accept any argument on it. Now.
Well, too fucking bad, because here's my argument on it.
What's your argument? Why is that not a great riff?
All right, so here's what I'll give you.
Okay.
Because you mentioned Wake Up Dead.
Yes,
in our conversation.
And I'm going to get into that in just a second.
So here's what I did. Being the musician that I am, I looked at both pieces of music.
Okay, tell me how they come out.
They're actually surprisingly in the same key.
Okay.
And...
maybe that's what I thought.
And they're only just... Wake Up Dead is like 20 to 40 beats per minute faster.
Okay.
So not much faster. And they're both stupid fucking songs that are about the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. That's why the point that I made, And I actually practiced.
I'm gonna say "Wake Up Dead" is better musically.
Yes.
Technically and musically.
Hell yes.
Lyrically, it's just as fucking brain dead.
I almost think it's worse. And this is why I say Motley Crue, or not Motley Crue.
Except for Dave Mustaine was saying something about the "Wake Up Dead" part is like he was out partying, fucking around on a woman,
and then he wakes this chick up, she's gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where I'm going with
Which
this.
was a legitimate fear of his.
Sure, but this is where I'm going with this. Are these bands really that different lyrically, theme-wise? Okay, and that's why I find it funny Dave Mustaine being the most vocal critic when Metallica was not writing songs about ass at the time. Fucking Slayer certainly wasn't, and neither was Anthrax, but Dave Mustaine going, yeah, KLA music, you know. Okay, if you took the lyrics to Wake Up Dead and put them over the music of Look What the Cat Dragged In and had Brett sing them. Went to bed too late and woke up too soon. That's, Look What the Cat Dragged In, If you had Brett singing the lyrics to Wake Up Dead, it's 3 a.m, sneak into my own house. And if I wake her,
that's awesome.
I'm gonna wake up dead. I mean, really, you would not know that that's a Megadeth song. But then take Dave Mustaine, all right? Take the lyrics to Look What the Cat Dragged In, put them over Wake Up Dead. I went to bed too late. I woke up too soon. My head's still spinning from too much booze. I mean, you fucking tell me there's a difference.
I'll give you that.
Thank you. That's all
fine.
I want.
You're right. I admit it. The fucking lyrics suck dick.
Yeah, and that's where I'm saying. It's like for Dave to say, and Brett isn't talking shit about Megadeth, but Dave is talking shit about...
he doesn't have a leg to stand on in that argument.
But Dave doesn't either. Dave does not either.
He got better.
He got better, and Brett wrote more involved songs. But, here's the thing. Brett wasn't talking shit about Megadeth, but Megadeth's talking shit about him. And I'm convinced of why. Poison got all the ass. And that's what pissed people off about them. Because I went back and watched their behind the music. I studied with different eyes, their footage or whatever. Fuck yes, they were obnoxious. God damn, they would have pissed me off in 1987. But that's the whole thing. It's a whole jealousy thing of these guys are happy. They're not apologizing for being happy, and they are banging your girlfriend. That's why you don't like them. Not because they suck, but because they're getting the ass you want. That's my opinion. Now, my opinion on Talk Dirty to Me, and then we'll move to the next album. I read this in Revolver magazine. I don't remember who wrote it. I don't remember the exact wording of it, but they were doing like a retrospective Glam issue. And one of their journalists said something to the effect of, if Talk Dirty to Me was a Sex Pistols song, it would be seen as just a great fucking song, a great punk song. But because Poison did it, it's seen as lame. I agree with that 100% because that riff is fucking awesome. The song is, it's Talk Dirty to Me. It's like, oh, okay, cheesy or whatever. But, if Johnny Rotten had sang that with a bit of sarcasm, and it would have been Steve Jones playing that riff and not CeCe DeVille, people would have hailed it as a punk landmark.
I'd like to hear that. I'd like to hear somebody do that.
You heard Drop Trip do it, my band. And it was fucking fun. It was goddamn fun. We didn't cover that to get ass. We didn't cover that to be ironic. We covered it because one day at practice, our guitarist, Paul, played the riff, and we all just joined in automatically and finished the song, and we looked around like, did we just fucking play that? And we're like, yeah, I think we did. And sure enough, when we were playing a show the next weekend, we had 5 minutes that we had to fill in our set. So we said, fuck it, we'll play Talk Dirty to Me. And the crowd went nuts. So we're like, okay, this has got to be a part of our thing now. We put it on our CD. It's a great song.
All right.
In my opinion. I mean, is it Stairway to Heaven? No. But is it Blitzkrieg Bop? Kind of, yeah. Simple, direct, and fucking fun, and it's got a hook. You can agree that the lyrics are cheesy as shit. Of course they're cheesy as shit, but you know what? I love it when a woman talks dirty to me, and you do too.
Let it be known. Open up and say,
Okay, now we're on this album. Okay, your thoughts.
All right, so my favorite song was Bad to Be Good because it's
really?
because it's the only thing that was close to being edgy or aggressive.
You think so?
I think so. I think everything else fell flat. My least favorite song is Nothing But a Good Time, and it's lame-ass, vapid, party boy fucking rock.
Yes, it is, and it was meant to be.
Of course it was meant. Are you sure it was meant to be? You're giving them way too much fucking credit.
Like I said, I'm going to quote Bobby Dahl again. I didn't grow up listening to Bach. I grew up listening to AC/DC. That's what they wanted.
Well, they failed AC/DC miserably because their party and sex songs are far better than Poison.
Yeah, you know what?
Even with the 12-bar blues shuffle that AC/DC has.
Okay, really? You're going to say that Giving a Dog a Bone is pure poetry compared to Love on the Rocks? They're the same fucking thing.
I was thinking more like Whole Lotta Rosie, but fine.
Whole Lotta Rosie, I fucking love that song, but it's pretty direct.
Okay.
It's pretty fucking direct. 42, 39, 56, weighing in at 19 stone. You know, fuck it. That's pretty goddamn direct. This is a big woman. They're not churching that up with metaphors. Period. Poison did the same damn thing. I don't think it's fair to say, oh, they sucked, but AC/DC was great. They're bullshit. They were doing the same thing. People just hated Poison because they were happier. They were prettier. They were doing everything that should have got your ass kicked. And that's a fun fact about Bret Michaels. If you read his Wikipedia page, he was arrested several times for brawling. The guy fucking was always fighting people.
Because he got butthurt whenever somebody fucking made fun of him.
No, I think it was probably a matter of somebody wanting to kick his ass because their girlfriend looked at him. That's my opinion. But no, they did not take criticism like real decent people either, because there's the story about how Bobby and Bret poured a drink over Guns N' Roses' manager because their band badmouthed them, which is pretty smug coming from a band who has a guitarist who tried out for Poison and who likes to downplay it now by saying, I just wanted to be in the biggest LA. You know what? So you were compromising a bit. What would have happened if they would have accepted Slash?
They'd be a better band.
Maybe not.
Because Slash is a better musician.
See, better musician, yes, but I tell you what, as far as what Poison needed...
I don't think he would have dumbed down his guitar playing.
He wouldn't have, and that's why it never would have worked. And he wouldn't have done the image that they wanted him to do. Fuck no, he wouldn't have, and that's awesome that he wouldn't have. But I think the fact that he tried out says he was willing for a split second to compromise to get to something more. And you know what? Good for him, but at the same time, at that point, no, you don't get to badmouth the band you tried out for. That's the only problem I had with his fucking Guns N' Roses going, fuck Poison.
Hey, maybe they changed it up. You know, maybe it had something he was interested in, and then when they got notoriety, maybe they were sellouts. Maybe Guns N' Roses thought they were sellouts.
Well, if you read Slash's book, even he flat out admitted, I wanted to get somewhere, so why not try out for the biggest band in LA at the time? It wasn't, I liked their music. It wasn't, I saw potential. It was, they were the biggest band, and I wanted to be part of it. You know, so, I mean, I'm not going to say that anybody in Guns N' Roses doesn't have integrity, because you're fucking right they do, and Slash is Slash. But, yeah, you know, you wanted to be in the biggest band in LA, and then you turn around and fucking badmouth them. It's like, that's not really fair. It's not really fair at all, I think. But if you go into... all right, so real quick back to Look What the Cat Dragged In. I guess my favorite song on there... Well, I don't even want to count Talk Dirty to me, because that's just on its own thing. But I think Look What the Cat Dragged In. I think that's got a great riff. And I also love I Want Action. I think I Want Action is great because... there is no fucking way they'd get away with that song today with the Me Too movement. If you listen to those lyrics, you know, because they're not hard to miss. I won't give up till they give in. If I can't have her, I'll take her and make her. That obviously speaks of a time when people got it. If they released that song now, it would be, this has such rapey vibes and everything else. It's like,
I don't think it's because he got it. Let's talk about...
Sure.
Lyrics for a second. Let's go back to this. So every rose has a thorn, right?
Oh God, we'll dive into that.
Let's talk about this. So I heard it was written about a failed affair with a stripper.
Yes, Brett's
in a laundromat on an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, Brett called his girlfriend at home, heard a male voice in the background, and wrote this song about heartache.
So is it because he's a hopeless romantic, or do you think he's just an emotionally stunted little man-child? Because you're talking about the fucking those lyrics, right?
Uh-huh.
Think about it.
I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Neither am I, because I just lost my train of thought.
Well, okay, let's talk about... Okay, let's...
But the whole I want action thing.
Right, it's so dumb. Of course it's dumb. It's meant to be dumb. That's why I
don't
love
think
it.
it's meant to be dumb. I think it's because he's dumb and he just is emotionally stunted.
He was also in his early 20s in L.A. getting fucking blown every 5 minutes. What else are you going to write about? You know, whereas Dave Mustaine had a hard fucking childhood, had a drug habit on top of that, and he's going to write about what he knows. Aggression, things like that.
All I'm saying is I don't think that it was done tongue-in-cheek.
I think to an extent some of it was.
Maybe later on, but certainly not I don't think those two albums. I think he's just a piss-poor lyricist. All he's concerned about is fucking getting laid and
Well, I think
partying.
I think you're right in that all he was concerned about was getting laid and partying. I don't think that makes him a piss-poor lyricist any more than it makes Bon Scott a piss-poor lyricist. Come on, the Jack. Jesus Christ, Chad. But I fell in love with a dirty little bitch. I mean, come on. I love Bon. I fucking adore Bon. But genius? No, you're writing about ass, all right? There are clever moments in Bon's catalog, but, you know, there are some in Brett's, too. But, no, as far as that first album goes, it was what it was meant to be, a party album, nothing more. But I don't know. I love action. I think if they were to release that today, they would just be crucified for the Me Too rapey vibes or whatever. But I still say the best fucking part of that whole thing is the video where Brett gets shoved into the back of the car with the two bigger bitches. I love that because I'm watching that going, that's the action I want, god damn it. I know it's meant to be funny. Ha ha, yeah, I'm here with the bigger girls, whatever. I'm like, no, Brett, that's where you should be. You know? But yeah, so that was my thoughts on that. But no, as far as favorite songs, least favorite song on that album has got to be Cry Tough, because that's a level of cheese even I can't excuse. Because you have to, not even the crying part, but the out in the streets. Make sure you mention the streets.
That's right. Cry tough in the streets and you'll get what you want.
Yes, it's the culmination of everything wrong. Cry tough out in the streets to make your dreams happen. Jesus Christ, guys. Yeah, and that's easily the least favorite on that album. But yeah, some of that album, I am going to give you this, is cringy because of the level of cheese and just not thinking that went into it. But I give it a pass because that's what they wanted. They were not trying to be any deeper than that. And as far as them irritating everybody, they knew they were gonna, and they accomplished it. So who's the real asshole?
CeCe DeVille.
Hey, I will.
I do have to say his guitar playing got a little better for this one.
What, open up and say,
Just in general, the lead playing. I don't think his rhythm playing was worth a shit.
I don't think it was either, but
I don't think his lead playing was worth a shit, but it got a little better.
See, and I was talking with my wife about this because before we got ready to do this, I said, well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting to hear what Chad thinks of CeCe, because he's an actual guitarist. His opinion's going to be rooted in that sort of knowledge. And the first thing she said was, well, I think he's good. And I asked her, I said, well, why do you think he's good? She's like, because what he plays sounds good. And I said, that's exactly right. I'm not listening to him with a musician's ear. I'm listening to him with a fan's ear. And all of his leads, I think, are tasty. I think, especially on Open Up and Say Ah, I always picture this, and I'm probably just doing a vicarious thing here, but I always picture before every lead, he snorts a big rail, tells the producer, punch it in, and then he rips a lead. And I think that's the brilliance of him. I really do, because all of the leads, now I've heard live he's god-awful. I've heard he's just fucking terrible. But on record, especially on Open Up and Say Ah, I think all of his leads lend brilliantly to whatever the fuck he lays them on.
Well, that's the only depth I think the band has.
CeCe?
That's it.
I'm going to agree with you.
There's zero depth.
They're not meant to be depth.
That's fine, and that's why I don't like them.
Sure, and that's fine. I don't
like that if they chose to be 2 inches deep.
Sure.
I think it's lazy and stupid. That's why I don't like it.
And it's not for everybody. It's the same as my hatred of nu metal. You know, fucking, I can't stand what it stands for, but it does what it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Poison. I mean, fucking, now as far as Open Up and Say all right.
Oh, I think I had another least favorite track. Your Mama Don't Dance.
Oh, Christ. Yep, number one, mine too.
So that's a cover song, but
yeah,
it definitely made me hate the original band.
Fucking horrible, but I will tell you a fun backstory of that song. Okay, first of all, yes, that is my least favorite song of that album. It's just god-awful horrible, but This goes back to how far back my wife and I are connected. We both moved to the same town the same year. We were both new kids in the 5th grade. And she had a birthday party where she invited the whole class. And I'll admit for everybody, I had a crush on her even when I was 10. So, of course, I went to this birthday party where this girl, Nicole, was going to be. And they had this, unbeknownst to me, they had like this dance contest where they'd give little kitty prizes or whatever to whoever. And that Poison song, Your Mama Don't Dance, came on. And me, at 10 years old, fat, short, fucking gross looking, went out on this dance floor or whatever and danced this stupid, embarrassing dance. And I won. And I was given like a Hot Wheels Trans Am or something for that. Yeah, that's my connection to that song.
That's probably the coolest thing Poison's ever given you is a Trans Am Hot Wheel.
Probably. I'm trying to think, and yeah, you're probably right. But no, that's how far back that whole connection with my wife and with Poison and everything else goes. That's the only thing I like about that song. Other than that, yes, it's fucking horrible. It's so bad. But as far as that album goes, my favorite song on there is Love on the Rocks. And it's my favorite song because it's the distillation of everything about Poison that if you loved him, you fucking loved him. And if you hated him, God, you were going to hear that song and fucking hate him more. Because it's just Brett at his most Brett. She got an angel's face and the devil's grin. And I listen to that, but here's the thing. I listen to that vocal take and I think, this is a guy that knows what he is, who he is making no apologies. And you know what? If you don't like it, good for you. If you do love it, join the party. I just thought, this guy is so unapologetic and he's goddamn good at what he's doing. And that riff, too. I think it's a great fucking riff. It's a great hard rock. But yeah, I love that. And the lyrics are dumb. Hard, love on the rock, she's my shot. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we get it. But that's what I love about it, though, is because it's not pretending to be anything other than that. I think it's more honest, quite frankly, than Dave Mustaine singing Wake Up Dead and then pretending, oh, we don't care about sex, but I'm going to sing about this and put it over a thrash fucking rhythm because then it'll be metal. It's like, no, you're singing about fucking around on your girlfriend, dude. The same as Bret Michaels sang about in every other song. You're no better, all right? You're most definitely a better guitarist. Your band is musically more accomplished, but you're singing the same things. So you know what? Just quit hating out on other bands that were more successful with females at that. That's my opinion on it. Love Dave Mustaine. The guy's fucking uber talented. He's great. But I never could really support his whole gay LA music when I really think it was a pure jealousy of the fact that he spent so much time learning his trade, learning his instrument. These guys spent 5 minutes on it, and they are pulling 100 times more ass than you are, and you want to be pulling ass. You just don't want to admit it. Go on.
I still think Megadeth won. So
what you mean, Wake Up Dead or Dave Mustaine and Bret Michaels argument?
Just fucking in general, because who released the record recently? That's right, Megadeth did. Anyway,
that doesn't convince me.
I don't care.
I know you don't care, and I don't care either.
It's
about time we got in a good argument on this podcast.
Let's wrap this up.
I think we've said all I guess my final thoughts on Poison are fucking Bobby Dahl was right. He's not trying, doesn't have to. Neither is Ricky Rocket. Fun fact about Ricky Rocket. You know his birth name is Richard Ream?
No, I didn't know that.
Dick Ream.
Dick Ream.
Yep. But and another fun fact I'll give you.
He should have just stuck with Dick Ream.
Hey, that would have been funny, but no, another fun fact is how interconnected these LA glam bands were. The inner sleeve of Open Up and Say they got a bunch of pictures of the guys in Poison. CeCe DeVille is, of course, Coke frozen, making no expression. But there are 2 pictures of Bret Michaels in a goddamn Speedo with a token couple of bitches on either side of him, topless. One of those bitches was Vince Neil's ex-wife, Charisse. Yeah. So I thought that was a fun fact. But no, my final thoughts on Poison are pretty much everything I've said. They were everything that they said they were going to be. They never wanted to be anything else. And I'm going to say Bret Michaels gives the audience what he knows they want. And I think that comes from a place of genuine. And I love that about the guy. But I still say CC DeVille, you'll argue with me, and you have a valid argument because you're a guitarist. I'm not. CC DeVille is a fucking great guitarist, and I say that because I can listen to just him and thoroughly enjoy it. I think what he did with his leads complemented the songs in a way that really that rhythm section couldn't. I mean, fucking love the band, but they know they were not great. But CC DeVille knew how to tastefully add anything, even if tastefully meant snort a line and play as coked up as possible. I think it always fit on record. That's my opinion.
And the moral of this story is snort a line and play as coked out as possible.
I think the moral of the story is fucking enjoy what you enjoy. And don't make an apology for it. And if you don't like something, don't make an apology for that either. You knew we were going to disagree on something, Chad. We are fucking wholeheartedly disagreeing about Poison. But I'm going to give you credit. You went to the effort of listening to 2 albums. Whereas I listened to them for fun.
Yeah, it was torture. Anyway.
And that's fine.
We're going to wrap this up.
Okay.
I had a good time.
Nothing but a good time. And it don't get better than this.
This is Chadwick Von Tippett.
Joshua 40 the Hard Way Lee Johnson.
What, you know what?
What?
Let's, before we... I forgot. We should probably do some plugs here.
Plugs. Okay. Yeah, like, hit it.
All right, so why don't you email us? onemorelasttimepodcast@gmail.com.
Easy to remember.
You can follow us on Instagram at onemorelasttimepodcast. Follow us on Twitter at omltpodcast.com. On FaceSpace.
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 Yeah.
The fuck is FaceSpace?
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah, at OMLT Podcast. We're hosted on Podbean. We're on Spotify.
FaceSpace.
The One More Last Time Podcast. We're on Apple Podcast. The One More Last Time Podcast. We have a merch store.
Yes, give us all your lovely money.
That's what makes this entertainment possible.
Yes, on a serious note, we've got day jobs, we've got all this. This is a labor of love, but if you want to keep it coming, help us out.
Buy yourself a Phil Anselmo Block My Cock t-shirt.
Look for the modeling pictures. I'm not erect, but I'm modeling them.
Also, One More Last Time logo t-shirts.
Hell yes.
Or a tote bag. Whatever. We'll keep making shit.
Absolutely. If you any ideas, send them our way.
You can follow me at Von Tippett on Instagram or on Twitter at Von_Tippett.
Follow Chad. I'm not on either of those.
Yeah, Josh doesn't do this shit.
No, I'm bad enough with Facebook, and I wish I wasn't.
Like my status.
Yes, by all means. And for anybody listening, if you like what we're doing, share these posts. Get the word out. That will help us more than anything.
So on that note, Chadwick Von Tippett.
Joshua 40 the Hard Way Lee Johnson.
For One More
Last Time. Hasta.